So what is sewing? Well, quite simply, it is putting two pieces of fabric together, attaching them together, typically with needle and thread. You will do some sort of stitch to keep those pieces together. Okay, artists, now you are at the point where you get to sew. All right, I have my needle and thread. I know it's kind of hard to see here, but I have my needle and thread ready to go. The knot is already tied. So I'm going to take my felt envelope and I'm going to go at the very bottom here through the back. I'm going to bring my needle up, pull it all the way through, and if you give it a little tug, you should see that it does not keep going because that knot back here is holding it secure. Now what I like to think about with this stitch, with sewing, is that it's like you are diving in a pool and then coming up for air. So the thread and the needle, they are on the right side of my project. So I'm going to dive down into the water or down into the felt all the way through. Pull until it gets tight. You can see that stitch there. And now, think about it, you're underwater, so you need to come back up for air. So from the back, you're going to poke your needle through both pieces of fabric, pull it tight, and you're going to keep going like this. One thing that I would like for you to try to do is keep all of your stitches about the same length. So you'll notice as I'm sewing, going up and down, diving in, and then coming back up, all of my stitches are about the same length. They are about I'd say a little bit smaller than my pinky nail. Okay, maybe about half the width of my pinky nail. So you don't want your stitches to be too long or too short. I'm going to go ahead and finish up stitching this side. Now, if you can, I always like to end with diving down into the felt. Okay, so there's my row of stitches. I like to end going through the top of my project so that when I'm ready to tie a knot, so that this is all secure, it'll be on the back of my project instead of the front. So let's talk about how to tie that knot. We're going to use the same knot that we used before, but this time you're going to try to get that knot as close to your felt as possible. I'm keeping the needle in here, and actually it kind of helps. So I'm just going to pull here, and I like to take it nice and slow. Use my finger, and when I get that loop through, I kind of like to keep my nail, my thumbnail on it while I pull, because then when I get that knot, it's really close to the fabric. Okay, same deal as before. We're going to do this 3 times just to make extra sure that our thread does not come undone through our project. So one more time, loop it, okay, hold it there so it stays really close to the fabric, and then simply cut off your thread. Don't cut too close to the knot though. It's okay to have a little tail there, and that's your first side. Now we're ready to do it again. So you should still have some thread on your needle if you did take about an arm's length. So go ahead and tie those 3 knots at the end of your thread. If you don't have enough thread, feel free to get up and get a little bit more before you start on this next side. Okay, the only thing that is different about this side is that we're also going to attach a handle to our project. So remember that strip that we cut off earlier. Now you're just going to bring two of the sides together. It makes a little loop, okay? And you are going to simply put that inside, just a little bit, inside the top part of your envelope. So kind of looks like this, okay? And again, it's just a little ways in there. This time when I'm stitching, I'm gonna go ahead and start at the top this time. I'm still coming up through the back so that I don't see that big knot. But as I stitch, I'm actually going to be stitching through 4 layers of felt because I have the back side, I have the 2 pieces from the handle because they are overlapping, and then I have the front part of my envelope. So that's pretty thick, but the needle will have no problem getting through all of that. So again, I am starting at the top this time, stitching all the way down, and just make sure that you have a few stitches that definitely go through that handle because that's what's going to keep it secure. So I'm going through lots of layers of felt here as I stitch, and that's what's securing this handle. Okay, last stitch here. And again, I ended with it going down, diving down through the back. Okay, so I can flip my project over and I'm ready to tie that knot again. Okay, so you should have 2 stitched sides that can open nice and secure.